I'd love to invite Abhinav from GoodDot and Harpreet Tibb from Tibbs to come along and share their journey of how they cracked plant-based proteins in Frankie. So over to you. Yes, thank you so much. So I think we'll start off with a little introduction. Abhinav, I don't think you're unknown in the world of plant-based protein at all and plant-based meat. I think everybody who's here has heard of GoodDot, but a short introduction for the audience, please.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, GFI, for conducting this. I think events such as these are the need of the hour for this industry broadly and for the Indian food service industry to get aware of this new exciting thing that's out there for the entire industry to use and create for the consumers around the country. Having said that, I'm Abhinav. I'm one of the co-founders at GoodDot, leading strategy and doing a whole bunch of things. It's a startup, so while we can put this title or that title, we do everything, right? And someday while you're buying the nail in the wall, someday you're talking with an investor. So everything in the middle. So GoodDot is one of the early movers in the plant protein space, plant-based meat space in India. We are a company based out of Udaipur, Rajasthan, focused on democratizing plant proteins, democratizing this new category, taking it to the masses, taking it to the districts of India, and both through retail products, which are available through 10,000 POS physical point of sales spots around the country, as well as B2B, B2G, and exports to about 7 or 8 countries now. So that's it. And we also have a QSR arm, a quick service restaurant arm, called GoodDot, with a very tiny little thing which hopefully I'll touch upon a little later. It's called Keema Pav, which is a cart model that we just launched. That's about it, and hopefully we can get to more of it later.
Okay, hi, good evening everybody. How many of you have heard of Tibbs Frankie? Okay, it's 50-50. I thought it'd be like 90, yeah. So I have a job to do. It's like 8 issues. 8 issues? Okay. Yeah, right. I think the GFI youngsters will raise their hand. Absolutely valid. Okay, so my name is Harpreet Tibb. Come from the family that owns the brand Tibbs Frankie. The brand's been about 55 years old now. We say 55 years young. And very clearly, our agenda is very simple. Keeping and serving 100% freshly prepared rolls to all Indians across the nation using Indian spices and gravies. So we're very proud of this whole Make in India story. You have many chains that have come from outside. They start selling burgers and pizzas and everything. And all of them finally realize, we have to make an Indian version of it. So we had an Indian version. I don't know how many of you all know, but we own the trademark Frankie. And roll as a category was actually invented or created by Papaji, late Reimagining Protein. He discovered this on his way back from Beirut when he came here, and he started this whole category called roll. Didn't exist 55 years back, and he always thought that this could actually be a great format. So he trademarked it Frankie, and here we are, second generation people yet selling the same thing. And today I think we're here to share a story in terms of how we're also reinventing ourselves and making sure we're relevant and appealing to the balance 50% never raise their hands.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good buddy.
So, that's the reason I spend half my time on the course and half the time I'm doing this.
Please.
It would be a dream. Someone like me growing up, you would come down to the beach and wait in line, and then stand there and watch them make it, look like it, inside the envelope, every Sunday for I think it's been 25 years of my life.
Lovely.
Nothing has changed.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fine.
So that's the next innovation lined up, huh?
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's really great. We want this evening to be interactive and there will be more opportunity to meet and talk with each other. But while we are here, I think it's important to get this conversation going. How did you approach each other? Or how did you approach Mr. Tibb?
Thanks to the power of networking. So, we've been working very hard to try to get to the right decision makers across organizations. And that's always a challenge, right? It's a balance between, how much you want to push, how much you want to stay off, right? So, and LinkedIn helps. But, the Tibbs folks have been very sort of naughty there. They've not been too active on LinkedIn so that people like us can bother them. And it was actually an event like this conducted by Thai, the Indus entrepreneurs, Thai Bombay, where I met this guy who's a fellow restaurateur, a Gurmeet Butcher. It was a 2-hour event. We ended up staying for another 3 hours chatting. And we've become like brothers for life now. And it so happened that Gurmeet, who owns this beautiful brand called Moekita, is like the Paratha King of Bombay and Spice Box of meat subscription. So here, a small little, pitch for him. So he happens to be his nephew. And I told Gurmeet, I need access, tell me where you can make connections. He's like, Tibb uncle se mila hai kya? And Harpreet uncle se mila hai kya, rather. And he had a meeting with him, a work meeting, and very difficult to get this man's time, by the way, even for his nephew. And he had given him an hour, but that guy sacrificed that. He said, hey, Tuchal, you come, talk to him, I think it's more important for you. I'll somehow catch him somewhere through mom's connections. And so that's how we connected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I yet remember the moment, and hats off to him, because Gurmeet came there for an hour, and suddenly I see another guy walking in with him, and he says, meet Abhinav. I said, great. Then I find Abhinav chef walking in next. I said, no, this is great. And then suddenly they opened up the Tara, and they were all flavors saying, you must try my flavors, right? And that's how he actually walked me to actually try the different flavors with his base. And that's how we actually started this whole journey. It's very interesting when we started.
Lovely. And was it a particular product or a pitch that Abhinav made that worked with you?
So very honestly, you see, Tibb's Frankie is all about taste. We always believe great tasting food. And prior to that meeting, I'd actually done recent round work with many other plant protein suppliers. Right? And I think all of them suffered from one big problem, which was that you had a bitter afternoon. And very clearly, people would never like that, right? Tibb's Frankie. So we're always looking and waiting, saying when can we get a base which allows the texture to be very similar to our food. It allows, the Indian flavors to be well, let's say, enmeshed in that. And he actually got a range of flavors, which was, continental, western, Indian. And the good part was, I think, the base that we used. That was very selling because we didn't get bitter afternoon. And that's how the journey started. We said, okay, I think there is some promise. Let's start working, and that's how we started the whole journey.
That's lovely. And how was the process of developing the right dish, collaborating on flavor, collaborating on texture, and what has been a crowd favorite so far?
So I think the first, that. See, here I think is relevant for this audience here. Getting the right product is so critical. And we work with some very big global brands as well. You may have heard that we work with the likes of Domino's and Rebel and so on earlier, but those partnerships did not really succeed. And our concern with those partnerships was, I'm being very open here, is that we would reach out to them and say, we've got a base product. We believe in the base product. It's a very simple but versatile product. We can create anything from a keema to a tikka to a curry to a topping to a filling and so on, right? The only thing is it has to be presented well. We would request that, okay, let's do this together. We are happy, we don't want to take ownership, but let us at least take you to a particular level, show it how it's done. Then you can, depending on your clientele, go for it. And unfortunately, we were not taken up on that. And when those products came out into the market with these big global players, the products were not up to scratch, right? They were okay at best. They were, for example, in one example, they took our protein, they shredded it up, so the texture was gone. They put it on a dairy pizza, so it was not meant for vegans. And because of cost, for their cost consideration, they put very little of it. So even for vegetarians who liked it, there was not enough, substance in it to really get excited about. And something that could have been a fantastic partnership for both didn't really end up being. I mean, another partnership, they took a product, they said we're going to make something, we're going to create a construct on top of this. You give us in this format. The construct was basically heating it, putting it in a wrap, put in a tortilla, putting some tomato, onion, and that was supposed to be it. So had they told us that we just gonna microwave it and put it in our lap, we would have done something else and given it. So where we've succeeded, and thanks to this is the humility of Harpreet, just his brother, that they actually took us up on that and they said, all right, we like what you've done. Now take us to where you are, and then from there we will do our plus and minuses, right? And that was there, and I think I personally love the product that they've come out with. By the way, after a very long time, I tried the Sony. It was phenomenal just yesterday for another pitch. Now I use this product for my pitches, by the way.
No, so I think it was amazing, and I think the good learning for us was, I think they have the base food, they understand the best, right? And I think we were very clear in terms of which flavor gamut we want to play with. We very clearly had to be Indian, very clear had to be strong flavors, and that's how we started the whole journey. And the good part is, I think, within 60 days or something, we actually shortlisted, and I'm sure they obviously felt really pained about it because we kept pushing them, saying, isko theek karo. But the end of it, I think, was worth it because the products actually got launched in the month of March, April. In 6 months now, they've actually become close to 10% of our business. Yeah. So, and as he said, we launched with 3 flavors, we added with the 2 right now, and there are many people who are loving the food. And I think that's great testament to the power of plant protein, very, very honestly.
No, absolutely. Is there a crowd favorite?
Just a quick one, by the way, the 2 months that it took him, it's been a year and a half, and the Gurmeet is still not launching his brand.
I'm sure that's next what's coming, hopefully. But yeah, it's great to hear that 10% is a very impressive number given the timeline. And what is a best-selling PROTIROTI?
So we've got options which are vegan. So one of the vegan options sells very well out here, which is Pune. We have another vegan option, Chettinad, that sells very well in Hyderabad. We have a tandoori one, which is doing equally well in Bombay, right? So we have one vegan, one non-vegan, and I think all the flavors that we launched are actually well received.
That's wonderful. And I think back to you, Abhinav, in terms of any advice that you'll give to fellow entrepreneurs, fellow manufacturers who are now thinking about the presence of plant protein in different menus, would like to take the step ahead for their brand for such collaborations, what would you say to them?
So, see, we have a very different view on this, which may not, resonate with everyone. But we've always focusing coming from Tier 3 India, which is where my company is headquartered. We realize the value the Indian customer puts on his rupee, right? And so even because of that, the business, the food service provider also puts some, very strong emphasis on costs. So the cost of the ingredients that we sell to them is going to be very, very critical, which, earlier she mentioned about the survey, right? The cost is so critical because the Indian customers is going to think, oh, we're going to have for a vegetarian, because whatever you call it, vegan, plant-based, blah, 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 vegetarian khana hai. Now, vegetarian ke liye I cannot pay more than non-veg. That's a simple idea. So you have to keep that very, very close to heart in terms of what the price you're providing. And the second thing is also that came out in their study, which is that the product has to be very simple and versatile, where the food service player, they have tons of things, skills that we as manufacturers don't have. They have great culinary skills and production skills. They know their customers, so where they can create experiences out of what we do. So because of that, I'll say something that's going to be very critical is how much margins can you keep for yourself and pass it on to the food service player or manufacturer. Because if they cannot sell it at the right point, neither are you going to make money, nor is the food service player going to make money. So that's going to be extremely critical, the versatility and the price point. Having said that, there is a place for things that come pre-manufactured in a particular way, and that's always there. But this is our mantra that has worked so far.
No, that's very interesting, and actually a lot of legacy food service players like Tibbs already have their audience, and their audience expects a certain something. So on that front, I'd like to ask both of you, was there a particular promotional strategy or marketing strategy that you all took, given this is something new within the Tibbs branding? What was that journey like?
Okay, so I'll take that. So I think fundamentally, I've been to many of these conferences, seminars, get-togethers of plant protein. And when food is served as part of lunch or snacks or whatever, believe me, I'll be very honest with you, I find them absolutely bland. Right? It doesn't appeal to the Indian palate. And very clearly, when I get PROTIROTI samples, and I'm going to get you guys also to sample, yeah, you can clearly see that if you play the flavor game well, and you actually drive a lot of promotion sampling, you'll find a lot of people adopting this. In our case, I think we did a lot of work. In fact, Abhilasha, the head of marketing, is sitting out here. We actually tried and said, let's go and talk about plant protein-based food. We said, this is better than animal food, it's better than veg and all that stuff. And all those concepts were tanked. I think the research indicated, right, what's the relevance? And I think very clearly that's what came out, very, very clearly. When he pitched his food as saying, listen, this gives you 25% of your protein requirement or RDA. Right? So as you know, we require close to 0.8, right, of your body weight as protein. So each one of us now requires 50-60 grams. So we actually said we could give 25% protein of your daily requirement in every single row. And that actually resonated extremely well with all our consumers. So we actually went on the front foot. Thanks. So we actually crafted a name. It says PROTIROTI. So we didn't actually add it as a menu extension. We didn't add it as a flavor extension. And that would be my, let's say, learnings from this. We play on the front foot. So today in the menu have veg, non-veg, and PROTIROTI. It very clearly tells people this is PROTIROTI. It's protein-rich food. You can go for it. And we call this entire thing saying 25%. So that's the symbol on the back of a pack. And we do talk about 100% plant protein. But you see, that's not the selling point. So relevance is all about protein. The benefit we're providing is 25%. And if you ask me the nomenclature, I don't have to do too much of marketing. PROTIROTI itself tells everybody what's this entire offering about. So that in short would be the marketing ploy we've done. And it's working extremely well for us, very honestly.
That's lovely. And I remember when Abhinav, you told me about the collaboration coming up, and when you told me it's going to be called PROTIROTI, I was just like, that's a fantastic name. The name, and it just speaks for itself. And if the branding in the name is catchy, it will obviously bring those eyeballs.
Yeah, the good part is we've actually registered this up.
I was also going to ask, what is
So, one thing that many of us may not be aware. So, Harpreet was for several years at Unilever. So that's he's brought this, marketing, branding came from there. And I'll tell you, we actually overreached and said, oh look, we are so smart people, we know this thing. And we came up with these 5-6 fabulous names from our own and the AI gods above. And we shared those names with them. They're like, yeah, sure. Right? And when the product came out, so the thing is, they understand their customer. Right? PROTIROTI is such a simple name. Right? So nomenclature, what I realized is they've done some fantastic thing which I've written actually a LinkedIn article on that. Where if you see, they've got their red sleeve and the dark green sleeve for non-veg and veg. They created an entirely new sleeve, a light green color, right? So that's the exact color, right? The second thing, the nomenclature. The other thing that actually, there's a category by the way. The name of the dish when you actually go to buy is called Tandoori Soya Chap Roll, Bhuna Soya Chap Roll, Chettinad Soya Chap Roll. So they've covered plant protein, they've covered protein, they've covered a new branding, they've covered soya and chap all together, right? And so whichever way direction you go, you will reach them. One thing they've not done, they've not gone front and center talking about it as vegan. Unfortunately, vegan is a gully in foods industry. Unless it's an Earth Bar Cafe. Literally, sadly. I have earned lots of money running my GoodDot QSR, which many of you have been here, right? Great ratings, but I did not get the numbers. Right? I find people walking in front of my outlet in Carter Road either saying vegan, ye kya hai? Or secondly, vegan's not for me. It's a difficult thing to, it's aspirational. I eat vegan all the time, but I know it's a challenge for most people who are not vegan to take it up.
No, absolutely. And I'd love to know, given all the intel and the numbers and everything that you've seen so far, what does collaboration looking like? How do you see more such collaborations panning out? Whether it's with GoodDot and Tibbs, or whether it's GoodDot with others, or Tibbs with in different ways for the sector.
So they are tough taskmasters, by the way. So we just met them at the India Food Forum, and Abhilasha was like, "Yeah, हो गया एक product नहीं काम कर रहा है, I need some variant immediately कब निकलेगा? This has to be this flavor better than that brand. It has to X Y Z. Work with a third party and so on." So they're always thinking about what's next. Maybe you can talk about the tips and then I'll talk about some of the others.
Sure. So I think for us, very clearly, PROTIROTI is actually a platform launch, and we actually going to launching many more protein formats out there. So we started with this whole base with GoodDot, but we're actually exploring many more bases. So works on, innovations on, and we believe every 3 to 6 months you'll find us launching many more things under this platform, because we believe India's society deficient in protein, and we will see more protein-rich food as the need of the hour. And we believe we've got a great carrier in our food and our masala and spices. So you'll see a lot more stuff happening on the PROTIROTI front.
Thank you.
So that's in the tip part. In terms of other partnerships, we've got something that all of us again should realize. In India, the soya chap industry, just in Delhi, is about a 500 crore industry, right? Many of us would have seen, Instagram reels of soya chap being made in very dirty conditions, unhygienic, and those things, and said, "Oh, I'm not going to touch." The other thing we might have heard, and which is the reality, is most of the soya chap that we have in the country is made with tons of maida thrown in it, right? And some, in fact, now Delhi being Delhi, some of the soya chap there doesn't even have any soy flour, right? Having said that, now that's a category that's already there. The challenge with most food service players, including in my own QSR, is people get thrown off by the texture, right? If they don't expect it, if they know, fair enough, right? But when you say chap or soya, people expect a certain bitier texture, which is what the plant-based meat, here I'm speaking to the choir, which is what the plant-based meat folks, think about. So that's an entire category ready for disruption, where we can create better and better products, and we've created products which are now, let's say, we have partnerships with the like of Barbecue Nation, with AB's Absolute Barbecue, with Bademia of all people, and they're doing a fantastic job with our product. And many of them are positioning as a soya chap. The high-end places, including the Taj, places like Earth Cafe and others, Sofitel, many of them have all these products as plant proteins, and that has become as a wider acceptance we've heard from them. Then mock meat, of course, mock meat has its own positioning, and that can also work. Smaller niche at this point.
No, I think we're just getting started when it comes to QSR and food service, and the positioning will be different depending upon the kind of audiences that walk into that establishment. Very, very grateful to you, Abhinav and Harpreet ji, for coming and sharing your journey. We look forward to more collaborations, as you were saying, and I hope everybody will enjoy a bite of the PROTIROTI when it comes out a little later.
Great. Thanks so much.